Well, happy Friday to everybody. We have made it to the final game of June 14th, 1987 for this schedule block. It was a Sunday, June 14th, 1987, game 421 overall. And the number 11 is prominent because ballpark effects singles are 1 to 11 left and right, home runs 1 to 11 left and right. And as we look at the actual game, Texas won this actual game 5-1 in real world. However, in this replay, Oakland still with a 5-game lead over the White Sox, 36-23. Texas Meyer down near the bottom, 23-34. Pitching matchup, Eric Plunk against Charlie Hough, and Charlie Hough pitched a complete game. I believe it was a 3-hitter to win against Oakland. So we'll see what he can do here as far as trying to get a complete game. That knuckleball must have been working in that game. He does have fatigue of 7, so he can certainly, muster up enough energy to get there, I do believe. So there you see your starting lineups. Polonia in center, Mike Davis in right, Canseco in left, McGuire at first, Lansford at third, Jackson the DH, Steinbach the catcher, Phillips the second, and Alfredo Griffin at short. For the Rangers, Barry Brown, second base, Petralli the catcher, hitting number 2. Kind of weird to have him up in the 2 spot, but he's there. Ruben Sierra in right, Pete O'Brien at first, and Pete Incaviglia in left. O'Brien hit a 2-run homer off a Plunk in the actual game in the first inning, and Texas never looked back. Parrish, who's usually a DH, will be playing third base today. He's a 4.27. That might come into play. McDowell center field, Darrell Porter the DH, and Kurt Wilkerson at shortstop. So Scott Fletcher and Steve Buechele both getting the Sunday game off, game after a night game off. And you got those other guys in there as well. Oh, hello, ID and Dan. Your daughter came to visit. Cool deal. All right. Well, after yesterday's, I won't call it a fiasco, but just a little point trying to be made, I am going to take my time on this one. Savor it like you would fine wine, although I'm not a wine drinker, so I don't know. That's just a saying, so we'll go with that. Happy Friday to everybody. And ID and Dan, I've made up my mind. I have decided that the NBC game of the week will be in Fall Classic, and it will be the 1989 season. I don't see any reason to go out and buy a new season when I've already got a season here I haven't used. So just makes more sense to do it that way. 1989 was the very last season that NBC had the coverage. Starting in 1990, CBS took it over. So it was the final week of the NBC game of the week, and it was Vin Scully and Tom Seaver were the A team on that. And I believe Bob Costas and Tony Kubek were the B team. That's what I'm thinking anyway. So I went through, I Googled it and looked at some YouTube videos, and I've got almost every game that NBC showed. I've got that scheduled for the NBC game of the week. The ones I don't know, I kind of guessed. But for the most part, I think, except for maybe 2 or 3 weeks out of there, it's already pre-scheduled. Now, the problem is NBC did not include about 6 or 7 teams, and I like to show everybody. So what I've done is taken the teams that aren't included in the NBC game of the week, and I will do a midweek game featuring those teams from the regular season when they show up. 2 of the teams that aren't on the schedule are Cleveland and Milwaukee. They happen to play opening day. So I'm going to use the opening day Cleveland-Milwaukee game as like a precursor to the NBC game of the week, and kind of do that as I'm going to do a kind of borrow from RJL Network, doing a slow playthrough. Just for people who aren't familiar with Fall Classic, I figured it'd be a good video for them to watch before they start watching the NBC game of the week. Maybe it'll make the NBC game of the week more relevant to them and more enjoyable. And also, as you can see, Dan, I made a little note here, check KD first on the defensive chart. So I won't ever, that way I won't skip it when I'm doing error checks. I will always remember to look at that KD. ID, what happened yesterday? I had a video, not a video. I had a comment on one of the videos basically saying that I rambled too long and before the game started, and I wasted time. And they even put a timestamp on my video for when the actual game started. So yesterday's game, I signed right on. As soon as the stream hit, I didn't say anything. I just started playing. For like 4 innings, I did nothing. I didn't address comments. I didn't stop for anything. I didn't even go when it was a clutch situation. I said, I ain't got time to look at the clutch situation. We got to keep playing. So I did that just to make a point. And then, of course, in about the 5th inning, I got it back to a normal schedule. But today, we're going to be mellow, and it's a Friday, no less. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so Charlie Hough, who did pitch a complete game in the actual game, he is 8-3 on the replay, so he's doing very well for himself. Let's get the Strat screen up here and get his full numbers. So in real world, Charlie Hough was 18-13 on a 3.79 ERA. I know it's kind of hard to see with this blue background here, but those are his numbers: 18-13, 3.79 ERA. On the replay, he is 8-3 with a 3.55 ERA. 104 innings pitched already, only 75 hits allowed, 39 walks and 80 strikeouts. So he's got his control down where he's not walking guys, and he is not giving up a lot of hits. One part he will get in trouble with: his wild pitch is 8 and his balk is 13. The pass ball on Petrali is an 18. So if we roll the double dive, get a 2, we're either going to his balk or the pass ball, and they're both high chances to happen. So we'll start with that. I'm kind of getting that way, ID. I actually used I did use your phrase. I borrowed your phrase in the comments that I wrote back to somebody, because they were like, well, you obviously care about this. And I used your comment and said, to be honest, I don't give 2 shits about that. So I used that was the phrase I got from you. So I can thank you for that. And also the philosophy of not trying to please everybody. That's another one that you were talking to me about a week ago or so. Do my own thing, and as long as I'm enjoying it, hopefully that means other people will enjoy me enjoying it. So that's I agree, ID. There's I want to say it's a Ricky Nelson song that something about you can't please everyone, so you might as well please yourself. I think it's Ricky Nelson. I could be wrong, but I do remember that song growing up, and I think there's definitely a lot of truth to that. So, you can't make everybody happy. You're always going to have naysayers. Put anything out there at all, you're going to have naysayers. So it's just how it is. Garden party. Thank you, Action PC. Went to a garden party. I just remember the chorus part about you can't please everyone, so you might as well please yourself. So, all right. So, of course, I even skipped the ceremonial first sip yesterday just to speed things up. But today I'm going to savor the ceremonial first sip, because that's a tradition I started a while back, and I like tradition. I'm old-fashioned. I like tradition. We got our Texas Ranger dice. I agree, Dan. I agree. I mean, that might watch a small ad, but I mean, it's not costing them no money out of pocket. It's not charging them anything. They're not putting forth any money out of their pocket. So, anyway, enough of that. We'll move on and bigger and better things. Luis Polonia will lead off for the Oakland A's. He is hitting .272 on the replay. 2 homers, 7 driven in. He hit .287 in the real season. Whoa. You know what happened? We got to re-roll this. I was using my dice tile for something else, and I turned it backwards where the exit chute was facing the other way. So when I rolled the dice, nothing came out. Forgot to change it back. So I was using it as a backdrop for something else, and forgot to switch it around. So now here we go officially. 3-8, and that's going to be a ground ball to third. And third baseman Larry Parrish, who usually is the DH, is able to make that play. Fortunately for him, it wasn't an X chance. So there we go. Here's Mike Davis. Well, I'm going by the game of the week ID, so I'm following the game of the week schedule, not a season. If I was doing like a season replay, yeah, I would, but it's the game of the week, and Cincinnati doesn't appear for a couple of weeks, according to the game of the week. So I've got the schedule all set up. I went to the cards and went to Action PC, and I've already got the rosters for each of those particular games set up. So I'm completely set on that. I got the defensive sheets all printed out, extra players printed out that need to be printed out, and all that good stuff. So I'm all ready to go when it comes to April the 8th. And actually, I looked it up. There was no NBC game of the week on April the 8th because both games scheduled were rained out. They were in Chicago, and I think it was Pittsburgh, Chicago, and it was Dodgers, Atlanta. Both games got rained out, so they did not have an April 8th NBC game of the week. So I looked at the rest of the schedule on April the 8th and tried to find a day game. And I did find one that's going to be good, which at least I hope it's going to be good. Boston at Kansas City, April the 8th, 1989. That's Saturday. It's going to be Roger Clemens against Mark Gubicza. I don't like Digitug. I'm going to Action PC because that gives me everything. They give me who's on the roster and who's not and all that good stuff. All right. Now, I'll probably go to Baseball Sim Research and print off the score sheets. I might do something like that. I'm not sure yet. All right, here is Mike Davis hitting 290, 12 homers, 35 driven in. He hit 265 real world. 4-3, it's a ground ball first base X, and we're looking at Pete O'Brien. He's a 2E12. Hello, Kenyon. 2E12. Oh, and ID, I wanted to ask you something about your chart. Thank you very much, by the way, for sending these things. They're extremely helpful. And maybe I missed one of the files or something. I don't know when I was printing this. But on my sheet here with the catcher X and the pitcher X, it doesn't have the PP. Like it's got PF, but there's no PP here. So when I had to do a PP check, I had to go to the old thing. So I'm not sure if it's on a separate page that I didn't download or what, but I was missing the PP. I've got the WG. There's no WS, but I think WS is always a single anyway. But there's no PP here. And there might be a couple other ones I didn't see either, but it may be a second page that I just didn't print off. That's very, very possible. So we'll see. All right, so anyway, back to the game. Ground ball first base X, where Pete O'Brien is a 2E12. So a 2 and a 2, that's trouble. 2 and a 2 is a base hit. That's a 13, and he is an E12. E12, there is no 13, but it is going to get by him with that 2 and the 2. Is going to cause a base hit for Mike Davis as he snuck it past O'Brien for a one-out single. So Davis is on. He's going to try for the lead. 2 through 5 gets him the lead. And I didn't talk about it earlier, but the hold ratings, combined pitcher and catcher, it's a +2 for Hough and the catcher Petrali, because Huff's a 0 and Petrali's a 2. Plunk is a +3. Steinbach's a 0, so he's a +3. So both teams might have a chance to run in this game. So 2 through 5 to get him the lead. Doesn't get the lead, so moot point anyway. That'll bring up Jose Canseco, left fielder. Canseco on the replay hitting 268. 14 homers, 38 driven in. He at 257 real season. 5-5, and that's a 1-3 triple. That's a 12. It'll be a double. It's always assumed to go to center field when it's not listed. Center fielder McDowell is a -1 arm. Davis is a 15, being held as a 14. -1 makes him a 13. And you got McGuire and Lansford coming up, so I think the odds are there that they will hold him at second base. Or at third base, rather. So second and third with 1 out and Mark McGuire the batter. Infield is back. It's early. They're not going to take a chance of giving up 2 runs if they can just avoid and knock it down to 1 run. McGuire hitting 282 on the replay. 20 homers, 45 driven in. He hit 289 real world. 5-9, and that's a strikeout for Charlie Hough. Got that knuckleball going. Didn't matter where the infield was there because he struck out McGuire. And now we're in a clutch situation for Carney Lansford, third baseman. Lansford on the replay hitting 285. 9 homers, 35 driven in. He hit 289 real world. Lansford in the clutch. Let's see here. Gets a hit on 3-9. And that's it. That's a 5-3, and that's a ground ball first base C. So that means with the C there, I rule it that the first baseman got it and flipped to the pitcher covering. Not that it really matters, but that will end the inning. Something's on the computer is not liking this. Let's see here. What have I got here? Oh, okay. Stay at your base. All right, there we go. So the inning is over. Oakland threatens, but can't get one across the plate. We go to the bottom of the first. Oakland nothing. Texas coming to bat. And Eric Plunk, your starting pitcher. He also spent time in the bullpen. But right now, he is starting. Real world 4-6 with 2 saves and a 4.74 ERA. In the replay, Eric Plunk is 1-4, no saves, and a 6.59 ERA. So he's not had the best of replays to this point. The governor, Jerry Brown, will lead things off. He's hitting 262, a homer and 10 driven in. Hit 271 real world. That's a 6-5. He's a switch hitter, and that's a strikeout for Eric Plunk. Starts the game with a strikeout. 1 down, and here's the catcher, Gino Petralli. Very unusual to see him hitting second, but that's where Bobby Valentine has him. Petralli hitting 270 on the replay. No homers, 8 driven in. He hit 302 real world. 6-6, switch hitter again, batting left, is a ground ball shortstop X. That's Alfredo Griffin. He's back in the lineup after being off for a few days. And Gallego was in there, but Griffin's much better defensively. 2E29. So, but a 2 and a 2 did it to him again. Second time we've rolled a 2 on the defensive chart that's produced a single. That's a 4. Sometimes those low numbers will get you 2. E29 and a 4. But a 3 is an error, but not a 4. So it'll be a single for Gino Petralli, as Alfredo Griffin couldn't quite get to it. Petralli, of course, no threat to run. And that'll bring up Ruben Sierra, hitting 292 on the replay. 19 homers, 46 driven in. He had 263 real world. Switch hitting Ruben Sierra, 6'8", and that's a single to center field. Petralli, since he does not run well, will hold. And that's going to be first and second, with only 1 out for Pete O'Brien. O'Brien at first base, hitting 297 on the replay. 13 homers, 32 driven in. He had 286 real world. 210, and that's going to be a ballpark blast for Pete O'Brien. 1-11, but that's a 12, and he hit a 2-run homer in real world against Plunk, but he just missed it here. Just a deep fly to right field, and that is out number 2. So Art almost imitated life right there. But 2 away, and here comes Pete Incaviglia in a clutch situation. Incaviglia in the clutch will lose a hit on 1-5, and that's it. Incaviglia on the replay hitting 241, 12 homers, 34 driven in. He had 271 in the actual season. See what he can do here. 5-7, and that's a walk, so it's going to load the bases. Plunk not helping himself at all. And that's going to pass the baton now to Larry Parrish, also in a clutch situation. He gains a couple hits, 1-5 and 1-10. So that makes that column 1 very dangerous when you add those in. Then on column 3, he gets 3 more hits, 3-3, 3-11, and 3-12. He gains 5 hits in the clutch. On the replay, hitting 230, 11 homers, 30 driven in. He had 268 in the actual season, but he's definitely a clutch hitter according to this. 2-4, though, is a ground ball to short, and they will leave him loaded. So both teams put runners in scoring position, and neither can get a run across the board. So we go to the second inning, no score. Charlie Hough back out, and Hough will be facing Hot Dog Reggie Jackson. He is the designated hitter in this game. Jackson hitting 206 on the replay, 12 homers, 30 driven in, at 230 real world. 4-4, and that is a ballpark single check. And again, it's a 1-11, and again, that's a 12. So he will just ground it right back to Hough. Easy one out. And here comes Terry Steinbach. Steinbach, catcher, is hitting 279 on the replay, 2 homers, 10 driven in, at 284 real world. 5-11, and that is a ballpark blast off of Charlie Hough. 1-11, that's a 1. It's gone. Terry Steinbach, courtesy of Arlington Stadium, just takes Charlie Hough deep. Home run only number 3 for Steinbach. He had 16 real world, so he's been underperforming on his home runs, but he got it there. Home run, Terry Steinbach. Look at it again. 5-11, ballpark blast. 1-11, and the double dies a 1, and he has normal power. So the Oakland A's take a 1-0 lead, courtesy of Terry Steinbach. Again, that was his 3rd home run. He had 16 in the real season, so he's kind of short on his home runs lately, but he's trying to pick that up. Here's Tony Phillips, second baseman. Phillips is hitting 243, 3 homers, 24 driven in. He hit 240 in the actual season. That's a 4-5, and he is a switch hitter. That's a fly to center for O-Matic McDowell. And McDowell will make the play. 2 down. For the number 9 hitter, Alfredo Griffin. He's been out for a couple of games with Gallego playing short, but he's back. Griffin hitting 263 on the replay. No homers, 18 driven in. And he hit 263 in the real world. So right now, Strat-O-Matic has him right on target. He's had 194 at-bats, so he's got 300 more at-bats to go at least. But right now, he's pretty much on where he needs to be. 4-7, and that's a base on balls. So 2-out walk issued by Charlie Hough, his first walk of the game. And, of course, Griffin, 2 through 10 to get the lead, and you got that +2 from Hough. That's going to make him a 1-15 if he gets the lead, so he's definitely going to try for it. 2 through 10. And the 9, he definitely gets it, so he's going to go. 1-15, he would steal it. The T rate on Petralli is only a 3, so it's not much of a risk to throw down. So 1-15, he's in there. And he is. It's a 3, so it's a possible throwing error. T3. And what do you know? He throws it away. Wasn't much of a chance of that happening, but it just happened right there. A stolen base and an error on Mr. Petralli as he was trying to hurry his throw, I suppose. As it turns out, Alfredo Griffin now at third base with 2 outs. Now it's a clutch situation for Luis Polonia. And in the clutch, Polonia loses a hit on 110. Everywhere else, he is neutral. Polonia first time up, grounded to third. That's a 1-3, and that's a strikeout, and a big strikeout for Hough, his second of the game. Limits the damage to 1 run, and the error by Petralli does not come back to hurt him. We go to the bottom of the second. It is Oakland 1 and Texas nothing. Due up for the Rangers will be the bottom of the order: McDowell, Porter, and Wilkerson. So O-Matic McDowell steps up, and O-Matic McDowell hitting 214 on the replay, 3 homers, 14 driven in. He hit 241 real world. That's a 1-2. That's a ballpark blast for McDowell, but that's a 13, so it's out of range. Just a deep fly to right. Hauled in by Mike Davis. 1 away, and that'll take us to the designated hitter, Darrell Porter. He'd been around a long time. Porter on the replay hitting 366 in just 41 at-bats, but he's got 7 home runs. So in 41 at-bats, he's got 7 home runs. He hit 7 home runs all season in 130 at-bats. So He's already matched his home run total in just 41 at bats. So that's where this game on home runs can run a little hot. 1-6 is, well, he almost got it there on a 1-5. 1-6 is a 1-16 single, and he will take that. So Porter continues his hot hitting. Of course, will not be held. And here comes Curtis Wilkerson, the shortstop. He's hitting 237 on the replay, a homer and 3 driven in. Hit 288, or I'm sorry, 260. Hit 268 real world. Sometimes on that Strat computer screen, it's kind of small numbers there. It's hard to see. So here's Wilkerson. 3-4, and that is a hit by pitch. So Eric Plunk plunks him. Did his namesake. He plunked him with a hit by pitch. And that'll put runners at first and second. 1 out, back to the top of the order, and Jerry Brown. Brown, a strikeout victim his first time up. 2, chance for a balk or pass ball. We're looking at a balk rating on Plunk, which is an 8, so he certainly is capable of balking. And he did, around the number. So he generates a balk, which is going to do 2 things. It's going to move runners into scoring position, and it also takes away the double play. 2 big factors there. A's will play the infield back. There's only 1 out. They don't want a big inning. That's a 1. Might be a wild pitch here on Plunk. He might end up doing everything for him. But it's finally blocked by Steinbach, so at least that didn't happen. 2-12, and that is a 1-16 single. That's a base hit. It's only 1 star, so Porter will score from third. Wilkerson stops at third, but we're tied at 1 apiece. And now Jerry Brown looking to possibly get a lead here because of the +3. Needs a 2 or a 4 through 9 to get the lead. And 11, he'd be caught stealing. So 10, he does not get the lead. He's got a hold. So here's Gino Petralli. He singled his first time up. Infield for the A's, playing back for the double play. 1-7. Doesn't matter where they were playing. 1's a double, 2-20 is a single. Single 2 stars. Texas takes the lead. Scoring is Wilkerson, 2-1 Texas. RBI single off the bat of Gino Petralli. And that'll put runners at the corners. Still only 1 out. And that'll pass the baton to Ruben Sierra. Petralli no threat to run, obviously. Sierra infield still looking for that double play if they can find it. 2-8. Got a strikeout, so that I guess that helps a little bit for if you're Plunk. That makes it 2 away. Now the infield doesn't have to worry about a double play or playing in or whatever. But Pete O'Brien is your batter. He nearly homered his first time up. In real world, he did homer in the first inning of the actual game. It is a clutch situation for O'Brien. Loses a hit on 1-2, and that's it. O'Brien, 6-4 is a fly to right field. Mike Davis hauls it in, but Texas takes a 2-1 lead on the Oakland A's as we go to the 3rd inning. Texas won the game real world 5-1. And Hough did pitch a complete game in that particular time. So Polonia is top of the order. I'm sorry, Polonia struck out last time, so it's actually Mike Davis leading off. Davis leads off. It'll be Davis, Canseco, and McGuire due up. We get a 2-12 for Mike Davis. It's a ground ball to third. Again, Larry Parrish is there, 1 away. That'll send up Jose Canseco. Canseco doubled his first time up. 4-4, that's a strikeout. So Charlie Hough gets strikeout number 3. Strikeout number 3, and here's Mark McGuire. McGuire struck out his first time up. 3-9, and this time he'll draw the free pass. 2-out walk to McGuire, and that is the second walk issued by Charlie Hough. McGuire no threat to run. And with 2 outs, here's Carney Lansford. have it. 2-6, and that's a 1-4 double. That's a 1, so it's a double, but it's only 2 stars. So McGuire has to hold at third base. He has to hold at third. No option to advance. So now second and third, 2 outs, clutch situation for Reginald Martinez Jackson, otherwise known as Hot Dog Jackson. He's up in the clutch, loses a hit on 2-8 and on 1-2. Loses a couple of hits there. Hello, RN from North Carolina. Here is Reggie. 1-7 struck him out, and that's going to end the inning. 4th strikeout for Hough. And again, the A's leave runners at second and third. Second time they've done that in 3 innings. It's going to come back and bite them. So we go to the bottom of the third, still 2-1. And here is Pete Incaviglia, left fielder. He walked his first time up. That's a 6-7, and that's a ground ball second base X. Tony Phillips, a 4.E21. And the first 2 rolls on the range check of an X check have been 2s that have caused base hits. We'll see if the D20 can do a little bit better this time. 11, that's a little bit better. I think he'll be okay with that. 4 and an 11. 4 is not good, but nobody's on base, so the G3 is fine. That's a 10, and he is an E21, so I don't think that's an issue. Nope, not a problem. So Tony Phillips is able to make the play and retire in Incaviglia. Brings up Larry Parrish. Parrish, his first time up, grounded out to Alfredo Griffin. 4-7, and that's a base on balls. That is the second walk issued by Plunk, as well as hitting a batter. So his control is a little bit in question. Brings up Odeby McDowell. Flew to right field his first time up. I believe he just missed a ballpark home run on that at bat. 5-8, and Plunk, that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 3 for Plunk. 2 down, and that's going to bring up Darryl Porter. Porter singled his first time up. 5-6, and he's going to strike out this time. So Plunk comes back with back-to-back strikeouts to get out of the inning. So there you go. 3 innings are in the books. And that brings up the top of the 4th. And Terry Steinbach homered his first time up on a ballpark blast for the only run of the game to this point. That's a 1-6, and that's a hit by pitch. I don't know if that's retaliation for when they hit Wilkerson, but they just hit Steinbach. And now the umpires are issuing a warning. Next hit batter may be an ejection, because we've had each team get a player hit. So here's Tony Phillips. Hey, Jeremiah, what are you creating? Your own as-played score sheets. Cool. Good deal. Here's Phillips. 1-7 struck him out. 5th strikeout for Charlie Hough. Here's Alfredo Griffin. Although really Steinbach probably didn't even feel that hit by pitch because it was a knuckleball. That's a 2. That's going to be trouble for Texas, because you're either going to get a balk or a pass ball check. We're looking at a balk check, which for Charlie Hough is a 13. And he will balk. So each pitcher now is guilty of a balk. And Griffin stepping back in. 2-6, and that's going to be a ground ball first base A. Boy, that balk just cost him a double play. It's a ground ball to first. Going to third is Steinbach, but boy, that balk just took away the double play that would have been a double play. But now it's 2 outs and runner at third for Polonia. Polonia in the clutch. Loses a hit on 110. Everywhere else he is neutral. 3-5, and that's a base on balls. Yet another walk from Hough, and that is his third walk to go with the hit by pitch. So now runners on the corners, 2 outs. Polonia looking to get the lead, needs a 4, 5, or 6. Doesn't get it. He'll hold. And here's Mike Davis. Clutch situation for Davis. Clutch situation for Davis. 1 to 10's a single. Or, I mean, it's going to lose a hit on 110, and that's it. 3-7 is a 1 to 19 single, so that's a base hit. That will tie the ball game. Going to second is Polonia. Scoring on the play is Steinbach. And we're tied at 2 apiece. That'll bring up Jose Canseco. Clutch situation for Canseco. Loses a hit on 110. I'm sorry, gains a hit on 110. Doesn't lose a hit. He gains a hit on 110. That's a 2-11, and that's a fly to right. Sierra is there. But the Oakland A's have just tied this ball game at 2 as they try to increase their lead in the American League West over the White Sox. I mean, it's still in June, but you don't want to fall too far behind if you're these American League West teams. You don't want Oakland to run away with it. So we go to the bottom half of the fourth, tied at 2, and stepping up to the plate is Curtis Wilkerson. 5-12, switch hitter, ground ball back to Plunk, and that's going to be 1 away. Here is Jerry Brown, the governor. 5-9, and that's going to be a split chance. 1 to 4 is a single, but that's a 12, so he lines it to Tony Phillips at second base. 2 quick outs. And that brings up Gino Petralli. 112, and he fouls it out to Steinbach, and that's going to end the inning. So at the end of 4 complete, we are completely tied at 2 apiece. Again, Texas won the game real world 5-1, but this is Strat. This is not the real world. I was just doing that to give you context, but it's really irrelevant when you think about it. But some people like to know. All right, here's Mark McGwire. McGwire has struck out and walked. Let's see here. Something's off on my computer because it does not have the right guys there. So let me see what's going on with that. What got lost in translation here. Let's see here. Go back to this previous inning. Hit by pitch. Strikeout. Balk. Ground out to first, walk, and a fly out. Oh, I gave Davis the didn't give him a single. I gave him the fly out that Canseco had. So I need to go back and do some undos real quick. This will take about a minute to get this straight. Thank goodness Strat-O-Matic has the undo button, because that would be very, very difficult if they did not. So Mike Davis actually singled. I gave him the fly out. I didn't put his number in his result in the computer. That's basically what happened. All right, now we go back, and the 1-2-3 inning for Texas will be easy to do. 1-3 ground out, line to second, and foul out to the catcher. Now we're back in play with Mark McGwire back where we should be in the top of the 5th. McGwire struck out in a walk. 4-3, and that's a fly ball left field X. We're looking at Incaviglia, not very good. 4-E16 for Incaviglia. 4 and a 6, that's going to probably drop in for a base hit. I think it's almost guaranteed that it will. 4 and a 6 for a left fielder is going to be a single right there. E16 and an 8. There is no 8 there, but it will drop in for a base hit as Incaviglia was unable to get to that. And McGwire taking advantage of the shoddy fielding. And he will reach base, but will not be held at first base. Here's Carney Lansford. doubled his last time up. 4-8, and that's a base on balls from Hough, his 4th walk of the game. So he's having definitely some control issues. First and second, nobody out, and here's Reggie Jackson. He's 0 for 2. Five, and not 0 for 2 anymore. That's going to be a single for Reggie Jackson, a 2-star single, RBI single. And the Oakland A's take a 3-2 lead. That'll send Lansford to third as well. So Hot Dog Jackson comes through with the base hit. Runners at the corners. Nobody out for Terry Steinbach. Infield playing back for the double play. They need outs. 4-7, and that's a ground ball second base X. They got a chance at a double play. Second baseman Jerry Brown's a 3-E16. He was not holding Jackson on, so he is going to retain his 3-E16. 3-20, that's definitely a G1. Now you just have to avoid the error, and we'll have our inning-ending double play. That's a 10. That's a good sign for fielders. You don't usually see many 10s as errors. 16, there's no 10 there, and of course the 20 and a range of 3 is a G1. So we have our Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play 4-6-3, and that will end the inning and limit the damage to the 1 run. But the Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play, Giovanni's Tailor Shop in Lemoyne, Pennsylvania, the unofficial sponsor of this channel, but official sponsor of the tailor-made double play of the game. So if you're in Lemoyne, Pennsylvania, stop by and see them for all your tailoring needs. Giovanni's Tailor Shop, sponsor of the tailor-made double play of the game. So now Oakland has taken a 3-2 lead. This is the fatigue inning for Eric Plunk. So we keep an eye on him and his fatigue chances or fatigue possibilities. Ruben Sierra will lead things off. Well, first of all, I need to put this in the computer before I make that same mistake I didn't make last time. Let's see what happened here. I put it in the computer, but I didn't give the right out apparently. So let's undo this ground out by Steinbach and make it a double play. It'd be nice if Strat had a straight out double play button like the other games have, but they don't. So it goes forward to 6-3, and that should, oh, wait a minute. Something got awry here. So let's see, Reggie. Oh, that's because there's not the end of the inning. My bad. That's only the second out. The computer was right and I was off. So I was thinking I entered something wrong, but it was actually because there were only 2 outs. So good thing the computer is there. Keep me straight. So the run does score, actually. So now it's 4-2 because the run will score on that double play. So I stand corrected on that. It is now 4-2 Oakland. No RBI given, of course, because of the double play. Now we're straight. Thought something just wasn't quite right there, so had to go back and revisit that. So now with 2 outs, Tony Phillips will bat. So now we're straight. 1-9, and he's going to walk, so the inning continues. That is the 5th walk issued by Charlie Hough. And Phillips, they're playing with house money, so they're going to try to get the lead here. 2, 6 through 8, he gets the lead. The +2 hold makes him a 1-15 if he is successful in getting the jump. That's an 8, and he does get the lead. So he's going to go 1-15. He steals it. And he does. Stolen base for Phillips. Now he's in scoring position with 2 outs. Turns this into a clutch situation for Alfredo Griffin. Alfredo Griffin trying to come through in the clutch. In the clutch, he gains a hit on 3-11. And that's it. 3-11. And what did we know? 3-11, he just gained the hit. I just said that was his only clutch hit was 3-11. And what did we just roll but a 311? That line out will turn into a single 2 stars. And so now I'm going to need my correction tape because this is actually a third run that has come in. Serves me right for putting a number in here without having the inning over with. But it is a single 2 stars. Clutch, literally a clutch base hit for Alfredo Griffin. And the A's now lead it 5-2. And now Alfredo Griffin going to be looking to get a lead. Needs a 2 through 10. And he gets the lead. That's a 2. So it's possible balk on Charlie Hough. So he may not get the lead, but he might have forced Hough into balking. And he did. So that's a second balk on Charlie Hough. So Griffin kind of shook him up over there, dancing off the base path, and distracted Hough into making a balk. So now, clutch situation for Luis Polonia. And he loses hits on 110. And that's it. Hough to Polonia. 4-7. And that's another base on balls. That's the 6th walk issued by Hough. And now the bullpen for Texas starting to stir. Hough doesn't look like he's going to get a complete game out of this as he did in real world. Mike Davis is your next batter. Runners at first and second, 2 outs. Clutch situation again for Davis. In the clutch, he loses a hit on 110. That's another 2. Chance for a balk or pass ball. We're looking at a pass ball chance on Petrali, which is an 18, so it's very likely. And it will be a pass ball. That'll put runners at second and third. So Texas kind of imploding here as the havoc roll is causing them havoc. Second and third, 2 outs. That's another 2. Balk or pass ball. We're looking at another pass ball chance on Petrali. Could this be back-to-back pass balls? You know what? I'm not going to allow back-to-back pass balls because that's ridiculous. So we're not going to allow that. I'm going to drive on. 5-10. Catcher. Well, now he's got a catcher X, so he might mess this up too. Catcher X, and he's a 4E1, so the 4 is problematic. And a 4 and a 4 is definitely problematic. 4 and a 4 is going to be a single. I'm sorry, looking at the pitcher range. 4 and a 4 is a W/G, possible wild pitch right here. That is a 9, and he is an E1, so there's no problem there. But the W/G, with no runners on, a wild pitch has occurred. So Petrali didn't allow the pass ball, but he allows the wild pitch to get past him. That will score another run. So we got balks, wild pitches, and pass balls all over the place. And it's now 6-2. Mike Davis still at the plate with Polonia at second base. Or now rather at third base. 2-6, and that's a ground ball to first. They finally end the inning. But a 4-score Abraham Lincoln inning has turned this into a 6-2 ball game. They've given Eric Plunk a huge lead to work with now. And we'll even see if Charlie Hough comes back or not. That might be it for him. Plunk, this is his, as I was going to say before, is his fatigue inning. So we'll keep an eye on him. He's got a 6-2 lead to work with. Here's Sierra, 2-9 for Sierra, and that's a line out to second base. So Tony Phillips will make that catch. 1 down. Plunk going for the shutdown inning. Here's Pete O'Brien. He's flied to right twice. 4-8, and this time he will strike out. There's a dot there, but he has not reached fatigue, so the strikeout is good. 2 down, and that's going to take us to Pete Incaviglia. Hello, Joel. 5-8. And that's a strikeout for Plunk, so he's definitely got full endurance into the 6th inning for sure. And he's also got a 6-2 lead to help him. So we go to the top of the 6th. Due up for the A's, it'll be Canseco, McGuire, and Lansford. 3 righties. Canseco, the only batter not to come to the plate in the 5th inning. He's 1 for 3, is Canseco. 2-7, and that's a 1-7 single. That's a 9, so he will line it to the shortstop, Wilkerson. And Hough caught a break there. Even the outs were getting hard hit. Here's McGuire. 3-11 for McGuire. It's a ballpark single. That's a 1-11. That's a base hit. McGuire, his 2nd hit of the game. And that'll send up Carney Lansford. Now bullpen activity for the Rangers. And we'll see who they have that has a fresh arm that is available out there. Looks like Paul Kilgus, possibly. Although I think, let me check the box score from the score sheet from the last game, because I think he may have pitched several innings, Kilgus. So let me double check that. I don't want to overuse somebody when they weren't meant to be used. Well, I don't see it in front of me at the moment. I think it's back here. Find out. Actually, I can go to, never mind, I can go to the computer and find out. I can go to Kilgus's game log and figure out when the last time he pitched. He pitched 2 innings on the 12th, which was on so he's okay to pitch this inning. So yeah, Paul Kilgus is loosening in the bullpen. Pitched 2 innings, but that was 2 days ago, so he's definitely available. So Paul Kilgus loosening in the bullpen. A little world's worst. But right now, Charlie Hough trying to get through the 6th inning and not let the score get any more out of hand. Carney Lansford, the batter. 5-6, and that's a 1-5 double. That's a 6, though. He got a break. It's a fly to left field. So again, Charlie Hough living on the edge there. 2 down for Hot Dog Jackson. And Jackson did get an RBI single his last time up. That's another 2. Could be another balk and pass ball. This is getting out of hand. It's a balk chance on Hough. Could he make his 3rd balk of the game? 1-13 is a balk. And it's his 3rd balk of the game. Don't know if I've ever had a pitcher with 3 balks in the game before, but you get a 13 balk rating and this double die comes up as a 2 all the time. That can happen. So here's Reggie now in a clutch situation with the runner at 2nd base. So his clutch effect comes into play. 2-8 and 1-2. He'll lose hits. 6-8 for Hough is a strikeout, and that's going to end the inning. For Charlie Hough, that is strikeout number, looks like number 6. So Hough's going to at least make it 6 innings. We'll see if he comes back for a 7th or not. 7th inning is his fatigue inning. Hey there, bald guy. Good to see you. Miss Kathy. Got my coffee here. Starting to get a little cool, but it's here. Hot Dog didn't have enough mustard on that one. He did in his previous at bat. He got an RBI single, but I think they're going to go ahead and pull Charlie Hough here. I think Bobby Valentine is seeing enough balks and pass balls, so we're going to go ahead and pull Charlie Hough. He's going to go 6 innings, give up 9 hits and 6 runs. Let's go to the box score. Make sure I don't think there are any unearned runs there, but I'll double check it. Want to be accurate. Let's see. Yeah, there's one unearned run, so 6 runs, 5 earned, but 6 walks and 6 strikeouts. Well, that's almost demonic here with all these 6s. 6 innings pitched, 6 runs, 6 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 9 hits, which is an upside down 6. So there's a lot of 6s there. All right, so and we're in the 6th inning, so we're just got sixes all over the place. All right, here's Larry. If you're a numerologist, there you go. Larry Parrish. Hey, midlife. He must have had a lot of balks apparently, but my house rule, I don't mind if he gets 3 balks in a game. I just don't want back-to-back balks on with the same batter up there. That's the only thing I kind of get around. I'll do a wild pitch and a balk, or a pass ball and a balk, but I don't want 2 wild pitches, 2 pass balls, or 2 balks back-to-back. Here's Larry Parrish, 3-8 for Parrish, and he will draw the base on balls. Remember, Plunk, his fatigue inning was the 5th, but he went 1, 2, 3, so he's got full endurance for the 6th. But Tony La Russa is not going to let him hang around and struggle too much. Got a 6-2 lead, and they got a good bullpen. So here's McDowell, 6'7", lefty, ground ball second base X, and that is Phillips, 4E21. Big play to make here, 4E21, and a 4 and a 4 is not going to help the cause. 4 and a 4 is going to be a single 2 stars. That is a 10, so there's no error on the 10, but it's a single 2 stars. That double die has been rough on these X chances all game long. And runners, instead of a tailor-made double play, we got runners on the corners and nobody out. And now the Oakland bullpen starting to stir. Let's see who's loosening the Oakland bullpen. Who's got the rest out there? Could be Dave Leeper, maybe a lefty. Could be Dennis Lamp. No, he's been overworked a little bit. Nelson so-so. Yeah, it looks like Gene Nelson loosening the bullpen. Gene Full Nelson loosening the Oakland bullpen. Here's Darrell Porter. 6'7", and that's another. Phillips gets another chance. Another second base, another 6'7" roll. Another second base X chance for Phillips. Chance to redeem yourself. You got a 4 and a 9. At least you'll get to it, I think. Probably a G3 or something, but you'll get to it. 4 and 9, G3 pound, but he wasn't holding anybody on, so the G3 is sufficient. But then when you get the range down, you get a 17 for your error check. So you just can't catch a break. E21, a 17 is a 2-base error on Tony Phillips. So this has been a fiasco, to say the least. 2-base error on Tony Phillips. That will score Parrish and send McDowell to third, and there's nobody out. Can't really blame Plunk on that one, though. He's induced 2 consecutive would-be ground ball double plays, but his defense, Tony Phillips in particular, has let him down. And now both teams have committed an error. It's now 6-3, and the tying runs at the plate with nobody out in Curtis Wilkerson. Runners on the corners. They're playing back for the double play. They need outs. 4-3, and that's a walk. That's not going to help Plunk's cause either. And he may have just, with all the stuff going on, he may have just, and now he's tired, so he's going to have to come out of the game. I don't want him in there tired with the bases loaded. So they're going to have to go to Gene Nelson. Or they may go to a lefty because Petrali is coming up second. Brown's a switch hitter, so I think they're actually going to go to Dave Leeper, a lefty out of the bullpen, rather than Gene Nelson. So they will turn to Dave Leeper. So Plunk's going to go 5+. He didn't get anybody out in the 6th inning. Can't close the book on him yet because he's responsible for all those guys on base. Bases are loaded, nobody out. We'll bring Leeper into from the bullpen. And you thought Oakland had this game wrapped up and Texas had other ideas. So Leeper, on the real season, Leeper was 2-1 with a 3.78 ERA. On the replay, has been stellar. 2-1, 2 saves, and an ERA of 0.40. 22 innings pitched, only 12 hits allowed. So he's been stellar. So if you're going to bring somebody in to get out of the jam, he's the guy Tony La Russa trusts the most right now, and that's Dave Leeper. 2, I was going to say, we better check our balk and wild pitch ratings because they've been coming up a lot. So we'll check the balk it's a balk or wild pitch chance. We're looking at the balk chance of Leeper, which is a 0, fortunately for him. His wild pitch is an 11, but his balk is a 0. So Leeper is on. He's a -6 hold, so that's definitely going to help the cause. And now we'll see what happens. Bases loaded. Nobody out. Infield back for the double play. 3-8 for Brown against the lefty. That's a single 2 stars where they were. Single 2 stars. These runs will be charged to Plunk. And it's now a 6-5 ball game. And the tying runs at third base. So as soon as you think the game is over, because Oakland got 4 runs, all of a sudden here comes Texas. They got 3 runs and there's still nobody out. Runners at the corners. Gino Petrali, the batter. He's actually a switch hitter, not a lefty, but he only faced a lefty 7% of the time. So obviously they didn't trust him very much with the lefties. Infield's still back for the double play, and he's got some ground ball A's on his card. They could use a double play. 6-8 switch hitter batting right, and that's a pop up to third base. That's even better than a strike. Well, it's almost as good as a double play, but not quite. But at least nobody moves up. So now double play will get you out of the inning. And it's Ruben Sierra. Infield still looking for that double play. 1 out, runners on the corners. 3 already in. 4-12. That's a ground ball pitcher B. So they don't get the double play. The run will score. Or wait a minute, let's see here. Is the pitcher, this is where depends on how you interpret the rules, because some people say the pitcher is always in. So we may have to turn this around, because if the pitcher is considered in, then this runner would be out at the plate on a ground ball B, because runners, if the infield is in, runners at first and third, a ground ball B is a 7, batter saves, lead runner out at first. And I know a lot of games consider the pitcher to be playing in. Let's see here. I don't know if there's a rule. Let me check the rule book, because my first inclination with the infield in. Let's see, does it even mention that? And this can make a difference between a run or not a run. Let's see what the super advanced rule says about infield in stuff, if it does at all. It may not. I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on whether that should be considered in or not. I know some people consider it in. The pitcher's always in. I know inside pitch it is. Let's see here. Is there anything about there's corners in? I mean, it makes sense that the pitcher's in to me. So let's backtrack, because it was a pitcher B. So Wilkerson will not score. He's actually going to be out at the plate 1-2 on a fielder's choice by Sierra. And going to second is Brown. So just to me, it just makes sense. Sit right back to the mound. If the guy from third tries to score, they're going to throw him out. So that's the way I'm going to play it, whether it's right or wrong. Anybody's guess. But fortunately or unfortunately, I'm the one that's playing it, so I have to make that decision. All right, so Pete O'Brien is up. Clutch situation, 2 outs. Runners at first and second. In the clutch, O'Brien against a lefty will lose a hit on 1-12, and that's it. (5-8), and that's a strikeout for Leaper, and so that definitely affected the run total there. It's now 6-5, but I'm comfortable with it. So we go to the 7th. And here is Terry Steinbach, and he'll be facing the new pitcher Paul Kilgus for the Rangers. Kilgus is a -6 hold as well. That makes him a -4. So we get the numbers on Plunk now. Plunk's he's going to give up 1 unearned run. We can see that because of the error there. So let's go to the box score and get the final line on Eric Plunk. Plunk's going to go 5+ innings, give up 6 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. So I need to remember in all future games, pitcher is always considered in. So, all right. Go to Paul Kilgus. Kilgus on the real season, 2-7 with a 4.13 ERA, and the replays 0-1 with a 6.14 ERA. Starter and reliever, but right now he's in the phase of doing relief pitching, and he'll be facing the bottom of the order: Steinbach, Phillips, and Griffin. Hello, Jason. So Steinbach, 2-8 for Steinbach, is going to be a single. So the wildness continues. That's the 10th hit for Oakland. Here's Tony Phillips. Steinbach not being held. 4-7. He's a switch hitter batting right-handed. That's another single to center field. So back-to-back singles off of Kilgus. Puts runners at first and second. Steinbach's not going to try to go to third with nobody out. Here's Alfredo Griffin. He is an A bunter, so it kind of makes sense to try to get an extra run going here. So they're going to bunt. First of all, nothing on the Havoc. So we'll get our bunt chart out. And we get with the white die. White die says it goes right back to Kilgus. So now as a B bunter, he basically needs a 9 or less to have a good bunt. And a 5 is good bunt, sacrifice. So good bunt. It's going to go 1-4. And both runners move into scoring position. So good sacrifice bunt by Alfredo Griffin. And now it's going to force Texas to bring the infield in. They're already behind by 1. They don't want to get behind by more, so they're going to try to stifle the run here. Luis Polonia, lefty-on-lefty matchup with Kilgus. Infield in. 5-7, and it's a ground ball, second base X. We're looking at Brown. He's a 3-16. 3-13, maybe. 3-13, we'll see what happens. 3-13 is a G2, and that is a 13 as well, and he is an E16. E16, there's no 13, so we go to our G2 chart, which is on the back here. G2, where are you, G2? There you are. And our base situation, second and third with the infield in, and it says leader. So it says batter safe, lead runner is out. So they throw Steinbach out at the plate 4-2. Play made by Jerry Brown. Phillips will go to third, and Polonia reaches on the fielder's choice. But to get the lead dog at the plate, or to 2. All right, runners on the corners now with 1 out from Mike Davis. I'm sorry, now 2 outs, rather. 2 outs. Runners on the corners, 2 outs is a clutch situation for Mike Davis against a lefty. He loses a hit on 310. Loses a hit on 310. 210. Look at that. He loses a hit on 310, but on 210, he takes Kilgus deep. As one of our old guys, old members used to say, clean as a baby's ass right there. 210, home run, solid home run, no D20 needed. A 3-run shot from Mike Davis. And that has blown this game back to being open again. For Mike Davis, that is home run number 13 on the replay. He had 22 real world. A 3-run home run. And now it is a Dolly Parton 9-5 game, 9-5 special. Jose Canseco back out, so Kilgus was not the answer that Bobby Valentine was looking for. Didn't need the D20 there. Here's Canseco, 5-7. Ground ball, second base X, back to Jerry Brown, 3E16. 3 and an 8. You would hope he would get to that. 3 and an 8 is a G3. 10, he's not going to make an error on a 10. So Brown makes the play. But the 3-run home run off the bat of Mike Davis, and that's going to be it for Kilgus. He's going to go 1 inning, and that's it. Bobby Valentine has seen enough. 3 hits and 3 runs, all of which were earned, and didn't walk anybody, didn't strike anybody out, so they'll find a new pitcher. They'll go to a new pitcher in the 8th inning. Right now, Leaper got out of the mess, and he did his job, so he's going to come out, and they will go to Gene Full Nelson. And Nelson has the fatigue to finish out the game, possibly earn a save if he goes all 3 innings. So Gene Nelson is on. Nelson a -3 on his hold. Leaper is going to give up a hit in his 1 inning of work. He did give up some inherited runners. He did strike out a batter. No walks, no runs. So Nelson is on, and he'll be facing Incaviglia, Parrish, and McDowell here in the bottom of the 7th. Bottom of the 7th. So let's bring in Incaviglia on the computer. Bring in Nelson on the computer. Incaviglia is already there. So Gene Nelson coming in from the bullpen for Oakland. On the real season, 6-5 with 3 saves and a 3.93 ERA. On the replays, 5-0 with 1 save and a 3.69 ERA. So here's the pitch to Incaviglia, 2-5, and he struck him out. Good start there for Plunk. 1 away for Larry Parrish. 6-5, and that's going to be a 1-4 single. That is a 4, so Larry Parrish sneaks a base hit. He gets on base with 1 out for O-B McDowell, and you're down 9-5. You need base runners. McDowell, 4-7. Ground ball, second base X. It's a chance again for Tony Phillips. He's had his issues. 4 and 8. He probably looks like he's still going to have issues. This may get through for a hit. 4 and 8. It's a G3 pound, but he's not responsible for holding the runner, so the G3 is good, and a 10 is not going to be a problem. So it'll be a ground out with the runner advancing. But had he been responsible for holding the runner, that would have gotten through. Fortunately for him, it's a lefty batter, so he was not responsible for holding the runner. And Parrish wasn't being held either way, so it didn't matter. Here's Darryl Porter. Parrish now at second, so it is a clutch situation for Porter. And in the clutch, he loses a hit on 2-10. .24, not 2-10. He struck him out. 2-5 would have been a ballpark blast, but it would have been out anyway. But that is a strikeout for Gene Nelson. And he pitches a fine 7th inning to kind of settle things down and keep that Dolly Parton 9-5 lead for the Oakland A's. We go to the 8th. We need a new pitcher for Texas. Coming up for Oakland, it's McGuire, Lansford, and Jackson. So they're probably aiming towards a right-hander. And it looks like they are aiming towards Jeff Russell. Right-hander Jeff Russell will be coming on for the Rangers. Jeff Russell. On the real season, Jeff Russell 5-4 with a 4.44 ERA and 3 saves. On the replay, 2-1, no saves, and a 5.23 ERA. So Jeff Russell is going to be your new pitcher. He is a +1 hold. which makes him a +3. But up 9-5. Oakland may not steal. You never know. Particularly this part of the lineup. Lansford might, but certainly McGuire and Jackson, no threat to steal. So Mark McGuire will lead it off. 111 is a hit by pitch. So Russell is out of there. Russell was ejected. I don't know if that was intentionally sent up that way by Bobby Valentine, but he's out of there. He is gone. We've already had a hit by pitch on each team, and I said the next hit by pitch was an automatic ejection, and there you go. So Mark McGuire will reach, but Jeff Russell has a very short outing. And now Texas will go back to the bullpen for somebody else. And that somebody else is going to be Dale Mahorsic. So Mahorsic will come in, see what he can do. Mahorsic on the real season was 7-6, 2.99 ERA and 16 saves. On the replay, he's had definitely some struggles. 3-2, 4 saves, but an ERA of 6.46. So he needs to get right, and maybe this is a chance for him to do so. So Mahorsic is on. He is a -5 hold, so that makes him a -3. All right, facing Carney Lansford. .510, and that's a catcher X, so we're looking back at Petrali, the 4E1, 4-17. 4-17, he might get away with that. 4-17 is a straight old pop out, and that's a 6, so you wouldn't think he'd make an error on the 6, especially since he's only an E1. The only error he can make is on 17, so straight out pop out. So Mahorsic gets Lansford to pop it up right up the chute to Petrali for out number 1, and here comes Hot Dog Jackson. .65 against the lefties, a fly ball to center field. O.B. McDowell ranges over to make the play, 2 down. And that brings up Terry Steinbach. He homered in the second, and next at bat he got plunked. And that kind of started the whole thing. 4-8, and that's a strikeout from Mahorsic. So Mahorsic did well and kept the Oakland A's at bay. Still 9-5. Not out of the woodwork yet. I mean, Texas has the offense to come back for sure, but they got to get busy. They got 2 innings left to do it. Wilkerson is the leadoff hitter, but we are in the 8th inning, so if you want to pinch hit, we can. But he's a .268 hitter. He has reached base twice by hit by pitch and walk. He has not gotten a hit yet. But on the bench for the Rangers, most of their good pinch hitters are right-handed. You got Steve Buechele and Mike Stanley. You got Bob Brower. You got Don Slaught. And you got Scott Fletcher. So all of them are right-handed. So I think they're going to stick with the switch hitting advantage and try to get something off Nelson's card if possible against lefties. So they'll keep Wilkerson in there to hit. .53, and that's going to be a ground ball first base C. So McGuire will get it and flip to Nelson covering. 1 away. 1 down for Jerry Brown. .67, switch hitter again batting left. That's a strikeout. So Gene Nelson going for the save, that 3-inning save that you get regardless of the score. Saving it for Eric Plunk. Here's Petrali. 3-3 for Petrali. Grounds it to McGuire. 1-2-3 for Nelson. He's retired 6 of the 7 he faces for 2 shutout innings. And now Mahorsic back for the 9th to try to keep it 9-5. He'll be facing Phillips, Griffin, and Polonia.
Here in the top of the ninth. 9 runs, 12 hits, 1 error for the A's. 5 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error for Texas. And they will bring in Mike Gallego to play second in the bottom of the ninth. They just don't like those ground ball X's going to Phillips. So he'll get a defensive replacement. 6-6 switch hitter pops it up to third for Parrish, and there's one away, but the A's will go to their bench, and they will get, actually, do they even have Gallego? They only got 3 guys on the bench now that I look at it, so they may be stuck with Phillips here. Let's take a look to verify. Yep. According to, well, they got 4 guys. They got Johnny LeMaster, who's not carded, so not going to worry about him. So they'll stick with Phillips, I guess. I don't think LeMaster's much better at second base. Gallego must be hurt or something, I guess. LeMaster, let's see, is he rated at second base? He is, but he's a 4.37, so he's worse than Tony Phillips. So we're going to stick with Tony Phillips. He's the best they have, which is sad. Here's Alfredo Griffin. 2-6 for Griffin, grounds it to third. Another play for Parrish, 2 up and 2 down. And that brings up Polonia. 2-8 for Polonia. And that's a ground ball to second. And that'll do it. So Mahorsic retired all 6 he faced. 2 innings with a strikeout, nothing else. And we go to the bottom of the ninth, last chance for the Rangers. And they'll have the heart of the order up. Sierra, O'Brien, and Incaviglia will be up for the Rangers in this bottom of the ninth against Gene Nelson going for his, what would be, and I didn't get the ground out here. Hold on. Something didn't go right here. Something got screwy on the computer. So let's see here. Phillips popped to third. Griffin grounded to short. And Polonia grounded to second. Oops. All right, so Ruben Sierra will lead off. It will be Nelson's second save of the season. He had 3 real world. And these are the ways he'd have to get these saves, these long relief appearances, because you got Eckersley and Hough getting those 1-inning saves. So here's Ruben Sierra. 3-8 for Sierra. And Sierra on the 3-8, 1-14 is a double. That's a 15, though, so he'll settle with the single. Leadoff single for Ruben Sierra. And, of course, down by 4 runs, he's not even thinking about running. They will hold him on, but he will not think about running. And here's Pete O'Brien. He's 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. He's definitely due. 2-5, and that's a ballpark blast. He might come through right here, 1-11, but that's a 12. That's the kind of game it's been for Texas. You get a ballpark blast on a 2-5, home run 1-11, and the D20 is a 12. That's happened to Texas more than once in this game. Just a bad, you just know it's not your day when that happens. So we're back to Incaviglia. Incaviglia. 1-5, and that is a single to right field. And they're playing strictly station to station with the score being what it is. So runners are at first and second. 1 out for Larry Parrish. 4-9 for Nelson against a righty is a strikeout. There's a dot there, but he's not tired yet. So the strikeout is good. Now he's 1 out away from getting that second save of the season. He's got to get O-B McDowell to earn that. That's a 1. So we'll check Gene Nelson's wild pitch rating. Like we need another wild pitch around here. His wild pitch is an 11. And that's a wild pitch. Puts runners at second and third. Kind of an inconsequential wild pitch, though. Easy for me to say. With the 4-run lead, that wild pitch really doesn't do a whole lot. Here's McDowell. 3-9 for McDowell. That's a double. It's a 12, which is a single 2 stars, so I'll score both runs. I guess it was consequential to make the run for Incavilla. He scores automatically on that single. And Gene Nelson's not going to be able to finish what he started. Tony La Russa can't wait around. They're going to have to make a move to the bullpen. They were hoping to get Nelson to save, but it's 9-7. The tying runs at the plate. You got to go for the gusto here and go to your best guy. You can't let the game get away from you. So they go to the bullpen. And they go to get Mr. Eckersley. He's got a little bit more rest than Jay Howell has. So that's why we're using Eckersley instead of Howell. He's a little bit better rested. Eckersley, 6-8 with a 3.03 ERA and 16 saves in real world. 4-3, 9 saves and a 2.19 ERA in the replay. So Nelson's going to go 2 2/3 innings. I guess he'll get credit for a hold, although don't worry about holds. And let's see what he gave up here. 1, 2, 3, 4 strikeouts. He gave up 2 hits. So far, 2 runs, but he is responsible for this run, so we can't discount that yet. I don't see any walks there on his behalf. Eckersley is a -2 hold. So McDowell at first base could think about running, but would be pointless because his run doesn't mean anything, and you definitely don't want to do that. Darrell Porter is your batter, the designated hitter. He's the leadoff man. He is the tying run. .610, and that's a ground ball third base exit. It's up to Carney Lansford, a 3-8 to end this ball game. 3 and a 6. That's going to be right on the border there. I think he'll get to it, though. 3 and a 6, I think he makes the play. 3 and a 6 is a G3. There's a pound, but obviously third baseman doesn't hold anybody on, so the pound's irrelevant. That's an 8, and he is an E8. So an E8 for an 8 for a third baseman. There is no 8 there, so Carney Lansford will make the play, and the ball game is over. 2 runs do come in. We'll charge those to Nelson. They were earned. But Eckersley gets the 1 out he needs and earns save number 10. The win to Plunk, he goes to 2-4. The loss to Hough, he drops to 8-3. So we'll go to the box score and get all the totals. And maybe look ahead to next week, which will be the Monday, June 15th games. Get all new opponents, new series. So per the box score for the Oakland A's, 9 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error. For Texas, 7 runs, 11 hits, and 1 error. Again, Plunk the winner, 2-4. Hough the loser, 8-4. And Eckersley is 10th save. The computer, weirdly enough, gave Leaper a hold. Didn't give Nelson anything. I just thought that was kind of odd, but whatever. Oakland with the win goes to 37-23. And Texas drops to 23-35. So we'll look ahead to the Monday, June 15th games that will start next week. And let's see who we've got as possibilities. Usually, like I said, I like to try to go east to west, or east to west if possible. But there are 6 games on the schedule, so one of those games is going to be played offline. Not sure which one it's going to be yet. Could be Texas and California. That's a possibility. So it looks to me like we're in Yankee Stadium on Monday morning. Baltimore Orioles against the New York Yankees. Eric Bell against Tommy John. Tuesday morning we'll be in Toronto for Detroit and Toronto. Walt Terrell against Jimmy Key. On Wednesday, we'll be in Milwaukee. It'll be the Brewers hosting the Twins. Burt Blyleven against Bill Wegman. Thursday, we'll see Oakland in Kansas City. Kurt Young against Charlie Leibrandt. And Friday, we'll be in Seattle for the White Sox against Seattle. Floyd Bannister against Lee Guterman. That's the schedule. the game offline, Texas at California. And it looks like Cleveland and, let's see, Cleveland and, where'd you go, Cleveland? Cleveland and Boston are off this game on the 15th. They resume on the 16th. So no Cleveland-Boston game. They are off this day. All right, so that's going to do it from here. And, of course, Jimmy Key, big thing about Jimmy Key is he is undefeated in the replay. So Jimmy Key, if I look at the stats, on his stats specifically, Jimmy Key on the replay checks in with a record of 13-0 and an ERA of 1.49. So Detroit's got an uphill battle in that game against the Blue Jays on Tuesday. But Monday will be at Yankee Stadium, Baltimore Orioles, New York Yankees. Eric Bell will be taking on Tommy John, a couple of lefties. So that's going to do it from here. I hope you all have a great weekend. I'm not sure what I'm going to post one video over the weekend I know of that I've already pre-recorded. Might do another Carlton replay 72 payoff pitch game over the weekend. Not sure. But for sure, Monday morning, we'll be right back at it from Yankee Stadium. And we'll be switching over to the Monday, June 15th date to get us going. So thanks to everybody that was here. Hope you have a great weekend, whatever you have planned. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.